What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Unpopular Review, our AEW Dynamite recap episode. I am your hostess with the mostest, Divine Intervention, joined as always by All Elite Joker.
I am Joker.
All right, we are in Los Angeles this week. First time on the West Coast, if I am remembering correctly. So this is their debut on the western half of the country, obviously due to COVID restrictions. A lot of different venues that we were not able to visit. Obviously, different states with different COVID policies, but glad to see that we are able to kind of breach into the other side, because I think Vegas was as far as we had gotten, since that's where Double or Nothing has been the past few years, right, Joker?
Yep.
Well, June 1st, happy June, everybody. I don't know if I am still your UPR champ, before anybody asks. I don't know. Tally is not set, so technically I still am. So that's what we're going with. I'm still your UPR champion until the executive consultant decides to do his job.
I'm screaming.
Getting into the first match, of course, any person, spoiler alert, who has not seen Double or Nothing at this point, too bad, so sad. You know what you signed up for. CM Punk is our new AEW World Champion, winning against Hangman Adam Page at the Pape over this past weekend. And so, of course, he came out first. Thunderous applause. Everybody was super excited to see their new champion. Punk was teaming with FTR, who, of course, are sporting the Ring of Honor tag belts, as well as, are they the AAA tag team champions as well?
I think they might have lost those, but I'm not sure.
I can't remember. But they at least had the Ring of Honor gold, which makes sense given that Ring of Honor is a Tony Khan product. So flanked by another set of champions versus Gun Club, aka the Ass Boys, and Max Caster. It's very interesting that they've kind of thrown these two factions together, especially since Bowens is out injured. Do you think he actually got injured, or do you think it was like time for scheduled surgery and they just wanted them to still be doing something?
Yeah, I think he's having. I want to say he's having some kind of surgery in his leg, but I can't remember. I did hear something about him needing surgery for something, so I'm sure it's just a scheduled surgery thing. Because I mean, they did the whole injury in like a vignette and everything, so it screams surgery time.
Yeah, it was strange that it didn't come off the back of a match or anything like that. It was just like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
exactly.
by the way, Bowens is injured. That's why we're all hanging out together. It's hilarious to me that Billy Gunn is essentially written off his own sons and loves the Acclaimed 10 times more than he could ever love the Ass Boys.
Well, babe, that's because everyone loves the Acclaim. Just saying.
Yep. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. You can catch us at all the different social medias above and below. You can catch us every Wednesday. Socials, yes. All right, getting into the first match here. It was pretty much a showcase match. Obviously, everybody wanted to see Punk. I was not expecting to see him in action coming off the pay-per-view. So it was very interesting that he came out and then immediately was like, the following contest is set for one fall. I was like, oh, shit. But of course, Max comes out, does his rap, talks about the Amber Heard verdict that came out today, talks about the Ass Boys, got an Ass Boys call and response situation going on, which I thought was really funny. Not the A-list review team. Couple of quick spots here. There's a power slam from the top rope by FTR. The Ass Boys went over the top rope. Punk essentially stealing moves at this point, because I think every match that he's been in now, for the past few higher profile matches, he's stolen the other person or the other team's signature move. So this match, he stole the mic drop from Max Caster, big elbow from the top rope. But then in the end, it was the GTS into the big rig for the win. No real surprise there. But Punk then, of course, gets on the mic, first promo as champion, and promises that his reign is basically about him getting better. He says you can call him what you want, but at the end of the day, you've got to call him the champ. Cash also kind of had a funny situation in here, talking about all the stuff that he's done that Punk hasn't done. Obviously talking about Punk's straight edge lifestyle and not really having done a whole lot of drugs and alcohol. Cash says Punk's missing out. Joker, your thoughts?
Yeah, I love Dax awkwardly saying, yeah, I've done all of those things that, Punk has not. But yeah, man, just a good match. I mean, you can't go wrong with FTR and CM Punk. I mean, those are some we love old school wrestling kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows through in this match. Yeah, I'm enjoying Punk's little copycat thing that he's got going on. I'm wondering if that's becoming a shtick. If it is, I'm perfectly cool with it. I'm a fan of dumb stuff like that. I mean, when Dolph Ziggler was coming out, as a bunch of everybody and their mothers.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Entrance, that's hilarious. I love because for me it's flattery. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, good match. I had a good time.
The big news coming out of this whole segment, of course, is Punk calling out his Forbidden Door opponent. And he summoned none other than Hiroshi Tanahashi from across the ocean into the land of AEW, kicking down the Forbidden Door. Question here. Does this blow their load? Do you save the big ticket match for later, as you get closer to the pay-per-view, or is that where you start to get people excited?
I mean, they already sold out the show as far as physical attendance. So
that's fair. I
mean, I feel like it gets people, buzzing because, I mean, even if you don't know who Hiroshi Tanahashi is, they made a big enough, deal of it, especially on commentary, as far as why you should think he's amazing. I feel like it's going to get people to at least maybe go try and find a little bit of something of Hiroshi Tanahashi and see, how truly amazing he is and what kind of amazing story he can create in the ring.
Yeah.
I personally am very excited for this match. I think both of these guys are going to it's going to be a wrestling match to be seen. And I'm hoping it's the main event. It's probably going to be the main event. It has to be the main event. Right?
Yeah, it would have to be with Punk being the champion at this point.
It's going to be ridiculous.
I wonder if, how many people go over one way or another. Obviously, it's got to be a give and take here. I would imagine that Punk would walk away from this match the winner. But, I mean, with AEW, you just really can never tell.
Yeah. And I'm kind of interested in seeing what happens. And, Tanahashi kind of made the gesture for the belt. So I'm assuming it's for the title belt.
Ooh, interesting.
So, yeah.
I was taking notes. I missed it.
Hey, man, if they had Punk dropping the belt to Tanahashi, I mean, that'd be amazing. But
that would be wild.
I don't think that would happen, but I also can't say I know that wouldn't happen. Because, I mean, if they were going to take that belt off of an AEW talent and give it to somebody who's in New Japan, who else would you give it to aside from Okada?
Mm-hmm.
But Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Only for Kenny Omega to win it back. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, that'd be amazing.
Kenny needs a break, man. Every time I turn around, I hear about a new injury of his.
I think he's fighting. I think he's supposed to fight Ospreay, but I'm not sure.
Speculation. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Now that would obviously, if you didn't already have tickets, at least signing up to watch it at home. Go through a couple comments here. Charmaine, good to see you as always. What does FTR stand for?
Not allowed to say that on the air.
Right. Whatever you want
for the revolution.
For the revolution, or I don't have anything witty. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm really tired. Divine, are you still?
Revival.
Maybe.
Formerly the revival. There you go.
Divine, are you still UPR champion? I answered this a little bit earlier. EC still has not done his job, so technically, yes, I am still your champion, and I will continue to wave that flag as long as humanly possible. I'm gonna be honest, we weren't here because we had another obligation that we had to see to, and as much as I love AEW, that had to come first. So chances are high that I may be stepping down from the throne, but only momentarily. I will be back. Athena is finally in AEW. Yeah, very excited to talk about that. Lol, hashtag fire EC. I'm here for it. Charmaine brings up a very interesting point here. MJF got balls. He surely does. And we are about to get into this very, very incendiary promo that he cut. For anybody who is unaware of wrestling news and what's been going on pretty much since this weekend, news reports have been lighting up Twitter as far as MJF. What is his status within AEW? Obviously, he no-showed a like meet and greet situation, from what I understand, that was supposed to happen at FanFest. It eventually kind of led to speculation that he might not even show for Double or Nothing. Fortunately, he did. He did do the right thing and, put Wardlow over. But he cut quite the promo today. People have been speculating that they being MJF and Tony Khan, have had an opportunity to sit down and potentially talk through things. Let me cover the highlights. And Joker, I want to get your opinion because I'm curious if it's all a work. Is it like they didn't cut the mic sooner? So like TK had to have known what was going to be said.
I was waiting for you to go through your synopsis before I started saying stuff.
Hold on. All right. MJF is in a lot of pain from Sunday. Obviously, what was it? 10 powerbomb symphonies from... Yes. A main man, Wardlow. Love him very much. MJF essentially saying that, this particular episode of Dynamite had some very important executives watching, which from what I understand that is, true as far as like canon is concerned. They did have some TNT, TBS executives in attendance or at least watching the broadcast. I think they're about to come up on another like bump to their contract or something like that, which is why they've been invested. But MJF saying it would be a shame if something were to happen. TK's been trying to talk to him for a while, but it's too little too late. MJF's been making moment after moment and he still gets no respect. He noticed that while he was getting booed, he was also being cheered. And where were those fans when over the weekend he was being called unprofessional and a lot of other derogatory terms for skipping out on that fan event and everything like that. He goes on to say, fans know we are just a bunch of uncultured marks with wishy-washy opinions. MJF is the best and he's been taken for granted. And he's sick and tired of TK giving more money to ex-WWE guys. He actually said it on it, like he said the name, who can't even lace his boots. And he wants TK to fire him. And he ends everything off before the microphone is cut with a lot of cursing that was bleeped out. Wow. I was sitting there with my jaw on the floor.
If there was anybody who could do this, like he had the whole arena cheering for him by the time he was done.
Mm-hmm.
And like that just is just a testament to how amazing MJF truly is. You know what I mean? Like MJF, love him or hate him, is the best on the mic there is like today. And I'd go so far to say that he could probably stand toe to toe with some of the greatest of all time, as far as like his mic skills. That man can deliver a promo like it almost makes you feel like he forgot what a good promo sounds like every time Max gets on.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much conviction, and he said it in his promo. he makes people feel things, which is not a common thing. The only other person I feel about like that way about is Eddie.
And here's the thing, the difference for me between Eddie and MJF, ironically coming from the same state, so you know they have that same energy, but the thing that sets them apart for me is Max is so eloquent. Like,
yes,
Eddie is so passionate, and you can tell that he is like feeling a lot of emotion when he's saying whatever he's saying, but he doesn't always have the words. You know, he is definitely a man of action and definitely wants to be in the ring. Like, the way that he cuts promos, as far as like he just wants to fight, like he doesn't care about anything else, he just wants to fight. And so it just is always interesting to me that Max's promos, like he didn't stumble on a word. He knew exactly what he was going to say. And I know it wasn't scripted. Like, he maybe in his own free time had some bullet points I'm sure he wanted to cover, but you could tell that that came straight from here. And he's upset.
and I mean there was so much in there that was so true. You know, like Max is a draw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, love him or hate him, you have to acknowledge him. And that's, again, something that is so important in the business. And I feel like people forget. You have to be the center of attention in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, you know, grasp that attention from the audience and get the emotion from the audience, because that's what makes for a great show and makes for a great reaction. And Max always gets a reaction, and it's usually the reaction he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, he can say or do just about anything to get either a cheer or a boo, depending on what he's looking for from the crowd. And it's ironic to me because when, you know, we were explaining him to, we had a friend over this evening to watch Dynamite with us, who is not a wrestling fan. And so just explaining that, like, this is the top bad guy. Like, he is the one that you're supposed to hate. But at the same time, during this promo, he's saying stuff that people can't help but relate to. So it's very interesting to me, the fans' reception of him. And then Charmaine brings up an interesting point. MJF reminds me of CM Punk. For me, I wasn't there for the pipe bomb, you know, promo, but this kind of came off to me with that same energy. Like, he was there to like detonate that, you know, it's hard to think about what was coming after that because he just was so invested in what he needed to say.
Mm-hmm.
What up, Vic? Good to see you.
What up, Vic?
We'll have to stick with this. We will keep you guys updated with any news. You know, like, share, subscribe. We try to share as much wrestling news and information with you guys as much as possible. But this is definitely going to develop over the next couple of days. But I have to think that if he was on Dynamite and executives were watching, Tony wouldn't have done something that he wasn't sure was going to deliver. And I just kind of feel like they're leading everybody by the nose at this point.
I mean, he knew what he was doing when he sent Max out there, or let Max go out there and do it. Because I'm sure the conversation was that I'm going to do this thing.
Maybe that was part of the discussion. Maybe he truly wanted to put his thoughts and feelings out there. Like, he has not made it a secret that, you know, 2024, he wants to, you know, go off to, you know, what, I don't want to say the big leagues, but, you know, I mean, the other team, he wants to jump ship like Cody did, for better or for worse. I don't know. It's hard to say because Max is always working. So it's hard to know if this was him just getting something off his chest or if this was truly like just to keep people hooked and invested on this story. Elvis brings up a good point. We did have a return tonight. And speaking of what could possibly follow this up, Johnny Elite, who made his debut when did Johnny make his debut? Was it it wasn't at the pay-per-view.
No. It was
It
during
was
the
just
Owen
before.
Hart tournament,
Yes,
like
yes,
a
yes.
week or two before.
Has an open challenge, and you will never guess who made his return this evening. If your guess was Miro, you're correct. It was so good to see him. Everybody's kind of been asking, where's Miro? I didn't think it was even possible, but he's smaller than he was even before because when he came from WWE, after a little while, he shrunk. And then now he just looks like straight muscle.
And murder.
We did get a brief promo before he came down, just talking about how he is he's coming after his god. Essentially, his neck made of sand has been fixed, and that he is looking to go on another tear, which I'm all about it, because Miro is so talented. Like, the 30 to 40 second promos that they allow him to cut, where he just is able to speak into the camera lens and speak directly to the people. I'm just like, man, put the belt on him again.
Bruh.
He was such a good TNT champion.
He's just good in general.
He is good in general.
I was so happy to see him as soon as the promo started cutting out. Like, they started rolling the promo. It was just like, finally. And, I really do enjoy a good post Big Show return.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it makes it feel, special. Because we had Roosh, we had Athena, we had, who else debuted?
I always forget his name, but he's the new mouthpiece for Jade.
Oh, Stokely?
Yes.
I thought there was somebody else. But anyway.
Wardlow.
Right. But yeah, like, you had all these people come out during Double or Nothing. I'm glad they gave Miro his time to shine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
He could have been very easily overshadowed by a couple of, debuts versus a return.
Exactly. Plus, we got that lovely promo.
Yeah, and I was kind of scared at first because they talked about the open challenge, and I was like, oh man, is it Miro? But then I realized it was a promo, and I was like, oh, well, I hope this isn't just them teasing it and then it's somebody else. But his music hit. He came down to the ring, essentially spent the match strong-arming Johnny around, and in the end, he did the game over to win. I mean, he wrenched it all the way back, as Miro only can. And yeah, he looks great. Obviously, certain people in the comment section not a big Miro fan, but I personally am happy to see Miro back.
Facts.
Miro versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT. Look, Victor, I'm there for it. I'm here. I thought he was an amazing TNT champion, and kind of like this insurmountable opponent to get through. He was a little bit more believable than some of the other TNT champions that we've had thus far. All right, everybody. Before we get into more foolishness, I think it might be a good time. Look, Jericho's next, so it is truly foolishness.
Okay.
Stick with us here for just a moment, and we'll be right back after these messages.
So, how is he?
Hell, same old Ethan.
How many times has Hunt's government betrayed him, disavowed him, cast him aside? How long before a man like that has had enough?
You can't break the friction! Ethan, that's not who we are.
Maybe we need to reconsider that.
Catch Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible? I don't know, guys. Welcome back.
I haven't watched that one.
I haven't watched that one either. Of course, now everybody's talking about Tom Cruise in Planes, so that's like the new. Tom Cruise in Planes. That's what we're doing. Oh no, Elvis! I can't even put that comment up there, bro. I won't even entertain it. You can't talk about my queen that way. Jericho Appreciation Society was next. Kind of a leeway into the main event that we were going to see, which will eventually be Jon Moxley and Daniel Garcia. We will cover that match in its entirety, so stick with us till the end of the show. But the Jericho Appreciation Society had a pay-per-view promo, essentially talking about the Anarchy in the Arena match, if I am remembering the title correctly.
Yes.
And they beat the shit out of each other. There was blood everywhere, and it all culminated in Eddie coming out with a gas can and pouring gasoline all over Jericho and essentially trying to set the man on fire.
Yup.
And
It's just
Brian,
returning the favor.
Mr. Danielson was not having it. And essentially it cost them the match. They choked him, they being Jericho and Jake Hager choked him out. And they disposed of Eddie for the win. And of course, won't let us forget it. We are at 12 weeks of sports entertainment. Yes. Jericho, of course, cuts Judas because that's what he's doing now, and people were not pleased. They essentially called themselves the Princes of Pape, and nobody does it better. Eddie and Regal interrupt, and Eddie is ready to fight. He just wants. We just talked about this. Eddie just wants to fight, and so he's ready to fight all 5 of them at once. But at the end of the day, they really want a blood and guts match. Mr. Regal filling us in on what they intend to do next. Jericho is pretty much writing. This was interesting to me. Like, I wish that they would have let some time lapse. I know there's not a whole lot of time between now and Blood and Guts, but they could have carried this over into the next week.
At least.
Yeah, because it was a very quick turnaround. First, Jericho says he's definitely not doing Blood and Guts. They don't deserve it. You know, they ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. Ortiz attacks from behind and cuts some of Jericho's hair and puts it in his pocket. I wrote in my notes voodoo. I didn't know what was going on at the time. I thought maybe he was making a doll. That's just where my mind went. Pay me no mind. But he cut his hair, and Jericho goes, "My hair is worth more than your entire existence," I think he said. Essentially, at the end of the day, Jericho and Ortiz are going to do a hair versus hair match. We're getting blood and guts. Let's start there.
Bro, that hairline took me out, man. Like, I don't know why. And it's probably just because Jericho said it in a Jericho, like, you know, in standard Jericho fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, just the nasally, high-pitched voice of Chris Jericho screaming at the top of his lungs in distress because his hair has just been cut. And we all know how much he loves his hair. He had already talked about his hair from, you know, what happened to it during the Anarchy in the Arena match. And just him holding his head, "My hair is worth more than your entire existence," took me out. I don't know why. It just, that's funny. I love Jericho. I hate him, but I love him. You know why? Because he's a wizard.
He's allegedly a wizard.
Nope. His name card said the Wizard, Chris Jericho.
In
that means
quotes.
he is a wizard. That's what they want you to think. He's a wizard.
Victor's got the right idea over here.
I mean, facts. But Jericho's still hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was very funny, the turnaround, and maybe that was the element of comedy in this, that, you know, he was so adamant that they would not do blood and guts until a single lock of his hair was cut, and after that, all bets were off. Blood and Guts will be June 29th, so it'll be the Dynamite after Forbidden Door. We've got quite a few like higher profile shows over the next couple of weeks, because Road Rager is coming up in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Then Forbidden Door,
Yep.
then Blood and Guts.
Yep.
So
I'm sure Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fallen are soon thereafter.
Yeah, those are summertime shows as well. And it's good that they have those, you know, like destination shows, as it were. But I don't know. Some of them are kind of throwaway. Some of them it's like, oh, okay, you know, nothing else really special is happening outside of like maybe the main event. Other than that, usually it's just a regular Dynamite. It's nice that they have a fancy name.
Definitely.
All right, moving on. Kind of touched base with Samoa Joe after his match against Adam Cole, baby, during the Owen Hart Cup. Obviously, a pretty grueling match against Adam Cole. However, Samoa Joe was not able to walk away with the win. And he did get caught backstage for an interview and was almost immediately attacked by his current rival, Jay Lethal, with Sanjay and Satnam Singh. And essentially, they wrapped his arm up into a chair and shoved him into like a backstage, like stage crate situation. It didn't look good. Samoa Joe did not look good. Curious is he being written off in some way, or like, I don't think he's injured. Nothing's come out to say that he's officially injured or anything like that, but I think maybe he's being written off to get a little time off. Charmaine, why are you gonna talk about this woman like that? This was a nice tournament for charity, and you have to come for this woman's hat like that. She was in her Sunday best. That's that pastor hat.
Oh man.
First Lady Hart.
It's just too funny.
That was pretty funny. So thoughts and prayers to Samoa Joe, R.I.P. his arm.
R.I.P. his arm.
I don't know
Facts.
what you want me to say.
No,
But
facts.
it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, this rivalry is not going anywhere. It's just going to be interesting to see, like, does Samoa Joe end up getting some backup? Like, what is next for Samoa Joseph?
Obviously, Jay Lethal in some shape, form, or fashion, but we'll see how that goes.
I'm sure at a pay-per-view or one of the
Specialty
shows,
episodes.
right? One of the shows with a name. He'll defend the Ring of Honor title. There will be shenanigans, and everybody will be upset about it, including myself.
Yep.
It's not me talking shit. Okay, so next, quite the interesting match. We still got our 10-man tag. Originally, it was supposed to be Darby, the Hardy Brothers, and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, or Lucha Express, as we're calling them over here, against the Undisputed Elite. Couple of different wrestlers were kind of moved around here. Adam Cole Bebe did not. He ended up being taken out of the match. Not sure if maybe he sustained some kind of injury or just needs the rest. But he was originally advertised and was removed and replaced by Hikuleo of the Bullet Club, which makes sense given the faction that they're trying to build together going into Forbidden Door. And Jeff Hardy was replaced with Christian Cage in this match. Jeff, of course, coming off of several high-profile matches over the past couple of weeks with the Owen Hart tournament and everything that he did with Darby and all that. He needs a break, man. Jeff is he looks good. Don't get me wrong. He looks good for his age, but he is an old man, and he needs to accept that in his heart. And Matt needs to stop gassing him up to like yeet himself off of things. Like, I know you tell me that that's a brother thing, but I kind of would think he'd want him alive.
Have you not heard the phrase, if he dies, he dies? At least he died doing what he loved.
Yeeting himself?
Yes.
Off of high places?
Yes.
Crying.
That's what he did.
Adam Cole, instead of participating in the ring, he was on commentary, of course, talking all kinds of shit about Lucha Express, the Hardys, Darby, any person on the other team. Jungle Boy and Kyle O'Reilly did start things off. And this was just a match full of like high spots. I could sit here for 10 minutes and list out all the high spots, but I won't because I didn't take that many notes. Everybody went over the top rope and did a spot, and it was awesome. There was a one move where Hikuleo kind of went over the top, and I swear he landed on his face or his head or something. But fortunately, he is thick-skulled because he immediately got up and was available for the spot to catch Darby, who did a coffin drop off of the top rope, all going outside because it's Darby, and why would you do anything safe? Christian Cage, then Hikuleo got beat. Like he took a lot of spots in this. Christian Cage with a spear off the apron to Hikuleo. In the end, Red Dragon and the Young Bucks both hit their finishes on the two respective teams. But the Young Bucks did hit the Meltzer driver onto Jungle Boy and did get a pinfall victory over the tag team champions. And so obviously the Young Bucks are coming for them belts. Very interesting that they retained during the pay-per-view. That was not what I called for. See, I'm probably not going to be your UPR champion because I did not call for that. I wanted Swerve and Keith Lee to be our new champions, but I don't get what I want.
That spot where Darby does the coffin drop onto Hikuleo out in the, on the floor. The fact that he caught this man and like a bear hug, only to then just yeet him. Shout out to Hikuleo. That one bit where he flew out the ring and like just clearly just landed all up on his face and head. I was so glad to see him pop right back up. Because like I thought he got his arms up, at least to get the most of it. But again, he's a very large lad, so him flying through the ropes after being hit and just nose diving onto the floor, like I immediately thought the worst, but he was obviously clearly fine. I mean,
right.
He did a bunch of stuff right after that, so glad that worked out. But very good match. Very good match. Glad to see some more of that. I'll take another Kyle versus Darby match, just throwing that out there. That was residual from their match in this as well, and also amazing.
Yeah, I agree. They have pretty decent chemistry, and honestly, I agree. This match was more enjoyable than I thought it would be. A lot of their 10-mans tend to be a little chaotic, and this was actually pretty well choreographed.
It's organized chaos.
Yeah, organized chaos. I think Christian Cage kind of thrives in these like multi-man not spot fests, but he's able to kind of come in and do a pretty impressive move like the spear off the apron, or I think he did a top rope maneuver at one point, and it like not be just him, because as an older competitor he could very easily get gassed out, but the fact that he can come in, do a cool move, and then kind of tag out for a minute, I think that he kind of shines in these situations.
And he's such a ring general,
I agree too.
Like Christian, his positioning, his timing, like everything that man does, especially like you said, in like these big matches, like, especially stepped up ones, but like these in particular, like I feel like that's where Christian thrives. Like he knows how to maneuver people and like, keep the pacing of the match to where you don't burn out the crowd, but you also don't let them get bored, but you also don't have everybody in the ring at the same time doing everything at once. Because there's definitely, you got Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus doing the double moonsaults off the ring posts. So there was tandem offense in there, but it never felt like it was overwhelming.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I think that AEW as a whole really had an issue putting together a good ladder match for quite a while. And it wasn't until Christian signed up and he almost, not immediately, but within like the first month or so, was already booked to be in a ladder match. I think it was the Face of the Revolution, the most recent one.
Yeah.
I want to say yes. And that match, like, to date, is probably my second favorite ladder match after Escalera de la Muerta. Yeah, I mean, that one you can't beat. But I think that Christian really came in and brought a more mainstream element to things. Like, you're right, like the timing, just his presence, everything. Mwah. Love Christian Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Keith Lee and Swerve and my dreams, we did hear from them briefly after this segment here. Essentially, Swerve got a fancy jacket, which, I mean, it looked cool, but I think the designer was like a Los Angeles native. Like, I don't know if we were supposed to necessarily know who this was. I didn't. But the jacket was cool.
Yeah.
But essentially Keith Lee assuring us that gold will come. Obviously, they've been tag team champions before in the past, and it will come again. And when it does, we will swerve in their glory. Won't touch on too much here. I think he's absolutely right. You know, they're not going to pull the trigger right away. There are several other tag teams of like actual like tag teams that I think should get a shot at the titles before two single stars. Like, yes, they have tag team history, but that's not how they're being presented here.
Agreed. And yeah, I also wanted Keith Lee and Swerve to be our new champions, but glad that they're not just getting lost in the shuffle somewhere. So excited to see what's next for them. And yeah, can't wait for them to truly get the gold because those guys are amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially when Swerve jumps off of Keith Lee because, you know, Keith's just that damn big.
It's true. Plus, they just have that kind of chemistry, man. Like, you know, I know that they've done stuff in the past, so gotta have some level of trust to run up a man's chest and do a backflip.
And Swerve's not a little guy either. Like,
no.
The man's like, what, like 6'4" and or 6'2", 6'4", something like that, and 200 and some change. And he can just run up off this man like he's a wall or something. Keith Lee is truly, truly the eighth wonder of the world. But anyway.
Well, everyone, we've got more to get into in this episode, but I think it is now a good time to take a break. So stick with us, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Daddy.
Don't wait up for me.
I never do. What's wrong with Daddy?
Welcome back, everyone. Check under your beds tonight for Bill Cosby. Ghost Dad. Like, share, subscribe, everyone. You can catch us at all of these available channels above and below. Joker, you okay? Look, the flashing at the end just killed me, man. Like, they really were going for spooky, and they missed.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, those older movies are just like going back and rewatching some of them. It's just so bad.
So it makes them so good, though.
Catch the review of Ghost Dad if you've never seen it. I'm sure that you'll hear all about it. Moving on, we heard from Athena, who is now All Elite. I know we kind of talked earlier about her coming in. Athena is finally in AEW. Yes, thank you, Elvis. Wonderful. He being Tony Schiavone was at the top of the ramp with Athena. She came out. She looks amazing. Love her vibe. Love her aesthetic. Joker's favorite female wrestler. Now that she is All Elite, I think she has taken the number one spot. I know we promised you guys our top 10s. We are coming off of like I said, the previous obligation. So check with us next Wednesday if you're interested in hearing our top 10s. We will try to make some time in the show for that. Essentially, she's there to go after Jade. She wants to kill, her streak before it hits 50-0. I don't know why your waifu's coming after my waifu like this. Like, I don't know what the beef is. Black on black crime. Like, upsetting.
Gold.
Yes, of course. Well, it can't be helped that Jade is, like, literally best. But essentially, Athena's coming after the streak. She's, like, made to end streaks. And so Jade comes out and tells Tony in true Jade fashion to cut the shit. And he sure does. And she also had her new representative there to talk. What's his name again?
Stokely.
Thank you. I'll get it one day, people. I will, I promise. I'm awful with names. I truly, truly am. Essentially, Stokely said that Athena's going to get her title shot, but just not tonight. We kind of had a similar face-off that we saw at the pay-per-view with Kiera Hogan facing off with Anna Jay, because Red Velvet is facing off with Chris Statlander and Athena's facing off with Jay. Look, man.
You did
the
good.
Ladies. I'll remember the ladies.
What
Your
a
thoughts
lovely
on Athena?
segment this was. Very excited to see Athena. I was super excited to see her on Sunday. Yeah, I'm just excited. And I'm sorry, but she's going to take that streak away, and I'm going to be very happy boy.
Never. The baddies are going to get it done.
That would be the only way Jade would retain, but at this point, I don't know who else you throw at it, to be honest.
Well, here's the thing. I am kind of okay because, like, if you think about the men's division with shenanigans and stuff, you revisit feuds all the time. So what's to say that this needs to be a one and done situation? If they go against each other and the baddies get involved, what's to say that this isn't a steel cage match or, some other stepped up, resolution as to how we get a true one-on-one match. But yeah, I think this really could go a long way into kind of boosting the women's division in the sense of more storylines and more different angles that they can use, just like the men do. Next, we had my I don't know, man. Wardlow might be number one this year. I'm really feeling Wardlow, but Wardlow versus JD Drake. Obviously, now that he is all elite, as we saw at the pay-per-view, his music is back. We thought that he might get some new music. It is still his original theme, but it's fine. He still has music, but he has kind of taken on this Goldberg-esque entrance as far as still coming in from the back with no escort this time, but just kind of walking from the back like we see him going through Gorilla and everything. So I think that's very cool. Pretty much a squash match. Powerbomb Symphony twice to JD Drake. Absolutely crushed him. But this isn't what this segment was about. Mark Sterling comes out and serves him with a civil lawsuit against the security company that he has been beating up. Joker, what are your thoughts?
I do love Mark Sterling. He's very good at what he do. Yeah, I just love the fact that Wardlow just likes to, beat up people. And then people cheer for him as he beats up people and tears up, lawsuit papers, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. But I suppose putting your hands on the, stage hands are also illegal. So he don't care. He's here. He's got music. I'm interested to see how Mr. Wardlow, Mr. Mayhem, the War Dog himself, continues on his journey to be one of AEW's top homegrown talents.
Yeah. I think he also stuffed the shredded up serve papers into one of their mouths.
Yes, he did.
He sure did. That's Wardlow for you. Looking good. American Top Team promo next. Essentially, Scorpio Sky is going against Dante on Dynamite for the TNT title. Dante Martin. Essentially, American Top Team talking all about Dante's potential. And just as they were about to snap out of existence, as Scorpio Sky is, that's his thing. That's how he leaves a room. He snaps and he's gone. It's like a genie. Dante interrupts the snap and essentially thinks that he's better now, or like he is better at his age than Scorpio is now. And so, yeah, we're going to see them on Friday. Well, technically, the people in Los Angeles are seeing them right now, but what can you do? For anybody curious, Scorpio Sky is going to retain, of course. I mean, love Dante, but it's not his time to shine just yet. Next we had a women's match, and very interesting for Elvis talking about his wife, Toni Storm. She was up next, Toni with Ruby Soho versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus or with Jamie Hayter. So Dr. Baker and Jamie, Toni Storm, and Ruby Soho. This match was good. Like, they got some "This is awesome" chants. Like, people were really invested in this. And the thing about Britt, she's a star. Tony's a star. Ruby, I feel like, is kind of on the cusp. Like, I think this might have been the match that kind of set her apart finally.
Yeah, because I feel like she's, toned back how animated she is. Because one of the issues she had when she first got to AEW was she was very animated in her facial expressions and stuff like that, and kind of overselling a bit. But I feel like she's, dusted that off and really come into her own, to say.
Yeah.
Like, the groundwork was there, but I feel like she's finally executing it a lot better. But this was an extremely entertaining match. I love the bit where Toni was fighting Britt, and Britt went to go tag out to Jamie initially, and Jamie's like, "Well, I mean, you got it. It's just Toni Storm. You got it.
You're the Britt Baker."
Right. So I'm assuming something's gonna come of that, hopefully. But yeah, man, very good match. I'd watch it again.
Yeah, a couple spots. Britt with a twisting neck breaker to
Onto the floor.
Toni. Yeah, Toni or Ruby, I can't remember which one, but yeah, she did this wicked
was
spot.
Toni.
Yep, did this wicked twisting neck breaker off the apron into the commercial. When we came back, all the ladies kind of did an outside move. There were a couple of like pin reversals here, but Jamie Hayter actually came in and reversed a pin attempt into the lockjaw. But essentially, Ruby ended up winning in the end with the Destination Unknown, which is, I guess, her second finisher, because she also has the
No Future.
Yes, which is that kick that she does. But yeah, afterwards, Jamie came in with Britt's new belt, shiny new belt, got to show it off, and just beat people in the head with it. So in the end, it didn't really... I don't want to say it didn't matter that Ruby and Toni won. Obviously, the momentum means something. But I feel like this was all about just kind of being able to show off the shiny new Heart title. Because Adam Cole had his, of course. They definitely panned to him holding it as well. So it's going to also be interesting to see what they do with those. Whether those will be passed around, or do they just stay with that person for the year? We'll have to see.
They're very pretty.
They are very pretty. Like, they put a lot of effort into them. Obviously, the Heart Foundation means something to a lot of the wrestlers there. So, I'm glad it looks good. Except for the hat. I know Charmaine didn't like the hat. All right, people. Main event time. We have made it to the end of the evening. If you've stuck with us this long, thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. I know I tell you every 20 minutes, but it's kind of my job. Had the camera pan to Vince Vaughn and Macaulay Culkin, who were in the audience this evening. JR made a very interesting Home Alone reference, which was pretty funny. Chop Fest to start. I mean, both of them were out to, hurt each other. It's kind of what this whole match was about. There was a nasty spill to the outside, which kind of started the bleeding from Moxley's forehead. Apparently, he had gotten some stitches there from the Double or Nothing Anarchy in the arena match. But a spot being thrown right into the stairs, essentially face first, did wonders in opening it up. I mean, he was dripping blood before they even went to commercial. Going into the commercial, Garcia managed to wedge Moxley's legs between the ring post and the stairs and then drop kick the stairs into his legs. That's the commercial. When we come back from commercial, Moxley is covered in blood. Unsurprising, stitches are all open. Yep. I mean, it seems like blood. I don't want to say a lot of people are becoming desensitized to it, but it seems like in a lot of matches, blood is, we don't shy away from blood in AEW. Pretty gruesome spot where Moxley essentially folds Garcia up and then drops him on the stairs. They were out to hurt each other. Top rope suplexes, pile drivers, into the sharpshooter. Moxley then transitions into the bulldog choke, using the blood as lubrication to be able to slip behind. What in the fuck? Mox and Garcia go into the timekeeper's table. We do end the match with Jericho getting up from the commentary table. He was up there with Hager, I want to say. But regardless, Jericho comes down to ringside to try to get involved. Eddie comes in for the save. Mox hits Garcia with the paradigm shift for the win. And at the end of it, Moxley announces that he is officially in for Blood and Guts. So that makes 2 for Eddie Kingston's team. Joker, 2 of your favorite guys teaming up again for Carnage and Mayhem. It's got you written all over it.
Suppose I look, man, anytime you got John Moxley and Eddie Kingston going at it, there's going to be carnage, and I'm all about carnage. There's also going to be something very entertaining happening in those two, especially when together. I loved the Eddie and John Power Hour while they were hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Right after they made amends, when they drove into the Elite's truck, their
trailer.
Their trailer.
Yeah, that was cool.
They were just always doing dumb stuff and beating up people. And that's what I'm all about. So, very excited for Blood and Guts.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see who else fleshes out Eddie's team, because essentially Jericho's already got his 5. Jericho Appreciation Society built from the ground up for Blood and Guts. With Mox officially confirming, I think that we'll, over the next couple of weeks, hear who else is officially in. I'd imagine maybe a Wheeler Yuta. Very interested to see where Bryan Danielson falls into all this. Obviously, he's got beef with Eddie, especially coming off of the pay-per-view match, and Bryan getting involved and stopping Eddie from committing first-degree murder. What you thinking about?
Well, you got Moxley, Kingston, Santana, Ortiz. Only leaves one spot left. Depending on what they do with Danielson, because it's not too far out.
Mm-hmm.
That could be Yuta coming back in as the 5th man.
Yeah.
Because I think he should be back in time, because he's off doing the Super Junior.
Oh, yes, that's right.
With New Japan, so that should be enough time for him to get back in time, I believe, and it would work out considering, Danielson got choked out by the ring rope and what was that, sharpshooter?
Something like that.
Jericho adamant, yeah. Regardless, man passed out from being choked by a ring rope, so
yeah.
It could stand a reason for him to be off a couple weeks, very interested in seeing what happens when these two peeps collide inside of the Blood and Guts. Who do you think is taking the jump spot?
Not Jericho.
No.
Given the controversy of his last Blood and Guts spot, I don't know. They've got to figure out another way to do it, like as far as like a trick table, or I don't know what you do, but realistically, Moxley maybe. He's crazy enough to do it.
Yeah, I was thinking either him or maybe Yuta. You know, if Yuta does wind up being in the match, or I don't know. I can't see. I don't really think I can see Garcia doing something like that.
No, he's not really a high flyer type.
Yeah, none of the guys on Jericho's side really screamed that to me. I mean, Eddie and John's team's they're all batshit crazy, so it legitimately could be any of them.
Could be. Well, everyone, thanks so much for sticking with us. It's been another wild episode of AEW Dynamite, obviously coming off of Double or Nothing. Can't wait to see what else is brought up over the next couple of weeks as we go into Forbidden Door. So stick with us every Wednesday. We should be uninterrupted for the next couple of weeks. So if you're looking for, what did somebody call us earlier? The A-Team review squad, something like that. If you're looking for us, you can catch us on Wednesdays.
Because everybody loves the AEWs.
It's true. All right, everybody. It's been wild. Catch you next week. Like, share, subscribe. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Not everybody.